Welcome to the first instrument flight lesson. In this lesson, we'll review the functional checks of radios and navigation equipment. As we've seen in our first lesson, these checks are performed in the last items of the after startup procedure. We'll also have to perform some instrument checks during taxi and before takeoff. Let's start. We'll start with the UHF radio test. Select the UHF position in the interphone control unit. This is a 3-position selector. UHF potentiometer pulled and volume adjusted properly. Function selector to both. Mode selector to preset. Check that channels change correctly using the channel selector. Adjust proper brightness level with the dim knob. We're now going to record a frequency in one of the channels. Right now we have one frequency in each channel pre-selected in the mission editor. What we're going to do is record a new frequency in channel 2. To do that, open the UHF cover. Select frequency 262 with the frequency selectors. This is the frequency for the control tower of the Cabuletti Airport, which we assume is going to be our destination airport today. Select channel 2 with the channel selector and press the UHF preset button. Close the cover. You'll now have the frequency of 262 MHz pre-selected in channel 2. Press the tone button and check the audio signal. Check that you have control over UHF radio. This is where the UHF transfer switch is illuminated. If it was off, the rear cockpit would have control. We'll now make a transmission and reception check in manual mode. To do that, change the mode selector to manual. Select frequency 263 MHz. Open the communications menu using the / key and contact the tower by pressing F1. This action simulates the push-to-talk function on the control stick. This is not the kind of communication we could expect at this moment, but let's give it the go-ahead.
Kudasi, Enfield 1-1. Request taxi to runway.
Let's see now the functional test of the VHF radio equipment. Select VHF in the interphone control unit. This is a 3-position selector.
Kutaisi, clear to taxi to runway 8.
VHF potentiometer pulled and volume adjusted properly. Power switch in control unit on. Press the test button and check that the display shows 188.888. Check that you have control over VHF radio. This is where the VHF transfer switch is illuminated. If it was off, the rear cockpit would have control. Let's make a transmission and reception check using the VHF frequency with the local tower. Select 134 MHz with frequency selectors. Open Communications menu using the # key, and contact the tower by pressing F2. Again, this communication doesn't have much sense, as with the previous communications
Darcy,
check,
infield,
but it's good
1-1.
enough to
Report
check that the
takeoff.
radios work properly. Now we'll do the VOR equipment test.
Taxi to parking area.
VOR equipment on and proper volume set. Half volume is recommended to start. VOR potentiometer pulled and at half volume.